Hey everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,000 point battle. 'Tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus the Punisher of the Kingdom of Equitane. Equitane? I don't know. It's a kingdom of the horses, alright? So we'll go with that. It's the horse guys. I'm sorry, vowels scare me, and it's a big, strange word. We need smaller words for me. But this is a good game. It's my opponent's first game with the new 9th Age rules for this particular army. So there are going to be some rule malfunctions, and I will be sure to point those out. If you see any that I miss, point them out. I'm still making mistakes. I will make plenty before this battle report's over, and probably the next one. But it's still a lot of fun, so sit back, relax, and get ready to listen to the sultry tones of my voice get you through this one. Here's my list, and I've made some serious changes to the list. I've still got my Great Khan, Lord Tremendous. He no longer has a Mark of Chaos. Now he's got Kagadai's Maul, Yeti Furs, the Talisman of Greater Shielding, Divine Icon, and a Headhunter. The Maul is easy. I like the D3 wounds at Strength 7. The Yeti Furs, that's not so much for my character. That's more for his unit. I stick him with the Merc Vets and lowering my opponent's unit's initiative so that my Merc Vets get their attacks first is huge. So yeah, it's almost a no-brainer. I gave him the Talisman for a ward save, duh. And I gave him Divine Icon because when he wounds you, I don't want some piddly friggin' ward save making, you know, oh, I have a 6-up ward and I made it. Reroll that shit, it's Divine Icon. So when he wounds you, I wanted to wound you, and I wanted to do D3 wounds. And I gave him Headhunter because being able to heal him throughout the game whenever he does damage in combat, if I can roll a 3-up, is huge. So there's my new kit for this guy. Next up, I have my Great Shaman, Kaka Shabadu. He is still a level 4 wizard. I have given him the Path of Butchery because I just find it to be more suited for my needs than the Path of Alchemy was. Nothing wrong with Alchemy, I just think Butchery is better. I missed Regen, Toughness, Strength, Stubborn, all those very useful. He still has the Iron Fist because it makes it so that you only hit him on a 4-up. Demon Heart, because I like the idea of you having to roll a miscast if you roll doubles. That's huge. It basically shuts down a turn of shooting. Gave him a ward save, and then I gave him Rotten Jaw because poison attacks is great and all, but then once a game I can give him and his entire give his entire unit anyway, poison attacks, which, you know, if I'm going after something with high toughness or low armor or something like that, you know, it just might push that combat the direction I need it to go. So I figured I'd try it out. Worst comes to worst, it's garbage, I don't use it anymore, but I had the points and I wanted to give it a shot. Next up, I got my hero choices. I still have my Khan, Count He's still my BSB. I gave him the Axebreaker Gauntlet, the Armor of Fortune, and Spin Splitter. Axebreaker because I like the idea of destroying my opponent's magic weapons, and of course, being able to parry and have Iron Fist and all that other stuff is huge. Armor of Fortune because heavy armor and a 5-up ward, can't fault it there. And Spin Splitter because I wanted to try out more of the big names, and having Thunderous and Devastating Charge on a Ogre doing Strength 5, Strength 6, whatever it is. It affects his impact hits and his stomps. I mean, I'm charging with this guy anyway. I might as well make him as optimal as I can. So that was my logic there. And my core choices have changed. Not really changed, just gotten bigger and more compact. I have a unit of 7 tribesmen now with Banner Musician, Iron Fist, Heavy Armor, duh, all that's obvious, and a Skull of Quenget, or Quenghet? I think I said that right. Basically, I wanted this unit to cause fear. Lowering their leadership by 1 and then making them take a fear check against this unit is huge. I wanted to try it out. And I'm making my units bigger because 5 guys and a character just wasn't cutting it. They didn't have the staying power. I'm hoping by adding a couple and making the brick bigger is going to help out. Next up, I got my unit of Bruisers. They're a 7-buy unit this time with Banner, Musician. That's it, because I gave the Magic Banner to my Tribesmen, because I honestly don't believe there's anything I want to give my Bruisers that'll make them any better. Maybe the +1 movement, but that goes on my Merc Vets. But yeah, again, same thing. Bigger unit, more damage mitigation, and hopefully more damage output. Next up, my special choices, I have the unit of 5 mercenary veterans with Banner Musician, Iron Fist, Lethal Strike, Bodyguard, and the Banner of Speed. You don't mess with perfection once you have it. This unit kicks ass, takes names, and chews bubblegum all at the same time. So this unit is fine the way it's at. I'm going to keep them as is, and I'm very pleased with them. This unit is new. It's the Scratapult. Obviously, I'm using a proxy, but it's the correct base size, so that's really what we're going for. But I put the Scratapult in there because, like I've said in previous battle reports, I've noticed that I'm having trouble with like big bricks of infantry. 25 mil, 20 mil, didn't really seem to matter. I need a way to thin those guys out, so I figured the Catapult will work. Now I know it's strength 3, but that Lethal Strike is, well, lethal, And so I wanted to try it out if I can roll 6s, and anybody who knows me knows that's the way I like to play. I like to roll 6s. That's why all my dice have pictures on the 6 side. It's the way I get a kick. I'm weird, all right? But yeah, I really want to try this thing out. Not the most ideal opponent to be playing against with this thing, or maybe it is. I mean, I didn't know at the time. But I'm real excited to try out this unit because I'm hoping it's going to shore up a weakness that I was finding in my list. And of course, I have my obligatory Kin Eater. I love this guy. I couldn't take him out of the list. He's done way too much for way too long. I love him. He's perfect. I'd like to give him a brother, but I can't find the points yet. So next up is going to be my opponent's list. I'm just going to play music and run through it, so if you want to see what he's got, feel free to pause the video at any time. Here are my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And I didn't get my opponent's spells because he had them written down on a piece of paper, and it just doesn't make for a good slide. Here's deployment, and for the most part, it's exactly what you would think. I've got my big bruisers with my BSB and my general's unit with, the Merc Vet's right in the middle to just take whatever he sends my way, and hopefully I get the charge off on him, and I'm able to kill him faster than he's able to kill me. I also have my tribesmen. Their job is going to go into the forest, try to force some dangerous terrain checks if they go after him. If not, get a beautiful flank, kind of protect my caster, but at the same time get the big unit in there if I need to. And then I've got my Scratapult on the hill in the back there, as you can see, so he can just lob shots into these knights and hopefully thin their numbers before they charge me and kill me. That's the plan. Of course, I have the Kin Eater getting ready to ambush. Here's my opponent's center, and I have no idea what knight is what. To this day, they all look the same to me. The guys on the left, I think, are Knights Aspirant, and the guys on the right are the same. The guys in the middle, I think, are the Knights of the Grail, and the ones on the left, I don't know. I know his level 4, his general, and his BSB are in the right center unit, and the left center unit has just like a paladin on it or whatever. So, yeah. And here's his left flank, which consists of his paladin on a Peggy. Here's my center. From right to left, there's my mercs with my general. In the middle there are my bruisers with my BSB. To the left are my tribesmen with my level 4 shaman. Kaka Shabadoo. I just like saying it. And my left flank, which consists of my Scratapult on his first game debut. Proxied, of course. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Here's top of 1 after movement, and not a ton. I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a little afraid because I know these knights, I remember the old knights. I don't know how these guys are gonna affect me. So I move up kind of cautiously. I honestly don't believe any of my units marched. I set my tribesmen up to get ready to go into the forest. I'm still playing under the assumption that you can't march into the forests. Last battle report, I was shown that that was wrong. Thank you for that, by the way. But yeah, that's it. The scrap launcher, or Scratapult, I'm sorry, isn't shown in here because it didn't move. It didn't do anything. It's exactly where I left it. So that's top of 1. During the magic phase, I'm able to get Teeth Cracker off on my unit, which is very nice. Gives him that extra toughness, just in case he gets a wild charge off. I believe I fired off Bone Crusher on one of the units, but it didn't do anything. But the spell did go off, so right now my caster is sitting on +2 toughness, I believe, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we go into shooting, and I fire the Scatterpult. I'm aimed for the caster in the middle of the unit on the right there. As you can see, it deviated 2 inches to the right, our left, and it was the perfect deviation, slamming both units. And to add insult to injury, I get 4 wounds off with regular saves and 2 lethal strike wounds off on him. I'm rolling out of the box, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't want it to ever end. It's all said and done. The 2 lethal strikes kill a guy, or kill 2 guys, and then the 4 wounds, 1 more guy drops. So I take a third of this unit out. I couldn't believe it. And then right here, I get 1 lethal strike off and kill a guy on in the other unit, which is outstanding. It's like the Scrat Launcher is trying, or Scratapult, damn it, is trying to impress me, and it's working. It's working very, very well. So, beaten and bloody, we go over here to bottom of 1 after movement, and there's not a ton. His Paladin on the Pegasus comes running down the middle, which I fully expected. Didn't know what kind of kit out he had or anything like that. I know the rules say it's open list, but old habits die hard. His guys come up, also cautiously. Keep in mind it's his first game. He just lost 3 guys of his big unit. Not feeling overly confident just yet. So yeah, he comes forward just a little bit. I mean, that, and his Pegasus guy comes up. That's really it. His magic phase, he brings back one of the Knights of the Grail that I killed with the Scratapult, which I'm just thrilled about, but, you know, that's fine. I'll just kill him again. So with nothing else going on, we go over here to top of 2 after movement. And again, I don't want to be charged any more than he wants to be charged, so I move up a little bit, hoping to maybe draw a few charges. I didn't even bother to pre-measure. I just kind of eyeballed it because I didn't want him to know for sure how close or how far he was, so he couldn't think about it. I mean, I know he could measure whenever he wants, but it's psychological, man. Also, my Kin Eater comes onto the table, and my plan is to slam him into the back of that unit in the middle with his characters because they can't make way, and hopefully I can hold them off long enough for me to deal with one of the other units and you know, get them through attrition that way. That's the hope with the Kin Eater. Plus, I want to keep testing the guy. I want to see how good he really does. In the magic phase, I get Bone Cruncher, the big one, off on this unit again, and this time I kill 4 of them. Bone Cruncher on high armor saved units is amazing. Fortunately, in order to do it, I did Overwhelming Power, or Power Overwhelming, or however you want to say it, which forced the miscast 5 on my Shaman, which brings the Small Blast template down right on his head, hitting him and 3 of my tribesmen. The results of which leave my Shaman wounded and one of my tribesmen DRT, which is a shame, but worth it for killing 4 knights. Then my Scratapult fires again at that big unit where the guy came back, where all his characters are, and direct hits, hitting all of them. Unfortunately, I'm only able to kill 1 guy. Lethal Strike rears its ugly head and murders the other guy, which is great. So yeah, the guy that he resurrected is dead again, and good riddance. And with all that said and done, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and his Green Knight comes in. That's probably one of the most significant things that happened in this. Well, I'm not going to say that, but we'll get to it. His Green Knight comes in with the ambush rule, going right after my Scratapult, and good choice by my opponent. And then the 3 lances of knights all charge my mercenary veteran unit. I wasn't expecting all 3 to charge, but only 1 make it in. My opponent was rolling terribly. The one on the left there charges my bruisers unit and fails as well. And then his paladin on Pegasus, he comes up to try to kill my Kin Eater because it's not a bad idea. There's a better picture of his 1 lance making it into my mercenary veterans, and that's really bad for him. I know he was expecting more guys to make it in. It's unfortunate for him that they didn't. I'm happy, but if all 3 lances had hit that unit, it would have been obliterated. And there's a better picture of the other 2 lances failing their charge. His magic phase, he gets the +1 strength, +1 toughness spell off on his paladin, and I don't remember what it's called, but it did get off. In the shooting phase, his paladin guy fires off the dragon lance at the kin eater, whose only protection is a regen save. He takes 2 wounds, which is actually a lot better than how it could have gone, so I really shouldn't be complaining. Go into combat over here, and my merc vets do what they do, and they obliterate this unit. Yeah, I do take 3 wounds, and they die. Oh, I lose 1 guy, but he's down to 1 guy, and I win by a landslide. And we send him on his way. He does get away. He runs really, really far, and I do not pursue very far at all. But I'm hoping that it puts me close enough to get another charge off next turn, and maybe even charge into that same unit with my kin eater. Get rear charge, banner. God only knows what kind of combat res through wounds, and maybe just pulverize that whole unit and not have to worry about it anymore. With the fun done, we go over here to top of 3 after movement, and there's a little bit. I proceed to fail all the charges, with the exception of my kin eater. My kin eater charges and makes it past the Pegasus Knight and hits the big unit with all the characters in it. My merc vets charge that unit and fail. My bruisers charge the middle unit and fail. My tribesmen charge the far lance on the left and fails. I'm sorry, that's not true. My tribesmen didn't charge, but the bruisers and the merc vets tried and failed, which hurts my soul. My shaman, Kakashabadu, he leaves the tribesman unit to go and try to bone cruncher the Green Knight into non-existence because I don't want my Scratapult to be destroyed. And my Scratapult moves as far as it can, which really isn't all that far, and can still shoot. Well, it can't march anyway, in order to get away from the Green Knight. But I also kind of turn him to face the Green Knight so that he doesn't get a flank charge on me, which would be even worse. That's pretty much it for movement. Here's a better picture of my kin eater slamming into the rear of this unit, and he was supposed to have backup, but I'm very curious to see how he does. And there's a better picture of a failed charge by my merc vets, which really eats at me. I think I rolled snake eyes to charge. It was bad. And there's a better picture of my bruisers also failing a charge. Again, I think I rolled like a 3 or a 4. Super, super bad. Missed them by an inch. In the magic phase, I believe I get regen off on this unit. Regen or stubborn, I can't remember which, but I know they're taking a charge next turn, so I figured might as well throw something on them. Of course, gives my shaman +1 toughness and immune. Well, not immune to poison, but poison doesn't just auto wound him and stuff like that. So that's cool. I did try to get Bone Cruncher off on his Green Knight, but my opponent wasn't having any of that and threw all of his Dispel dice at it. So that spell didn't get off, but I was able to get 1 defensive spell off, so that's something. During the shooting phase, I try to hit the unit on the right on the little damsel, and another perfect scatter. I hit both of these units beautifully. Okay, so there was a rule mistake here. Our bad. I take personal responsibility for this. We didn't know exactly how that worked when there was less than 5 rank and file of the same unit type in the unit anymore. So we tried to look it up, but in the middle of the game, kind of everything's going on. We wanted to know. We wanted to push through. So we just kind of said, screw it. Roll to see who takes it. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits the unit. 5 hits the character. Re-roll 6s. I end up rolling 3 5s. Couldn't believe it. The other 2 wounds don't do anything, but then I roll 3 5s to wound this girl, and she fails all of her saves and dies. I know that's not how it works. I know that's not how it works now, but that's the reason that this particular caster is dead in this game. We screwed up the rules. I take personal responsibility for that one, and I apologize. Over here, I'm able to plink 1 guy off with a lethal strike, which I'm loving this damn catapult. Absolutely loving it. And over here in combat, mostly thanks to hatred, but my crazier than crazy kin eater is able to kill the entire unit of Knights of the Grail, or whatever they are, his elite unit. I roll out of the box, I wound, I hit 4 times, wound 4 times, and he makes none of his saves. My opponent is rolling like butt. Okay, let's be very clear on this. But yes, the entire unit has been wiped out. So rear, charge, and 3 wounds to nothing. I make my regen saves, which is absolutely phenomenal and ridiculous because I'm rolling out of the box. I win this combat, but they're steadfast because I believe they only need a rank of 3 for a rank, so they're steadfast and they stick, but holy crap, my Kin Eater is a madman! So here we go over to the bottom of 3 after movement, and yes, if you look over to your right, you can see a guy desperately going through the rules, trying to figure everything out. And for the most part, we do know we're doing everything we think right. We're not 100%. I think he's looking up charges and all that stuff. But his Knights Aspirant that were on the left side there, they charge into the flank of my Mercenary Vets. The other unit that's not in combat with my Kin Eater is able to charge into my Mercenary Vets as well in the front. It was a weird angle. It was front. We didn't see any reason he couldn't make it in, but that's why our buddy is desperately looking at the rules for charging just to make sure we didn't do anything wrong, and we don't believe we did. His Green Knight charges into my Scratapult, and that's the end of that thing, which is too bad. It was doing beautifully this game. And then his Paladin on a Pegasus runs over to start blasting my Bruisers. Better picture of his Green Knight slamming into my Scratapult, and man, I'm going to miss that thing. And there's a better picture of all the Knights charging my Merc Vets, which, honestly, I understand why he did it, and I'm really, really nervous about this fight. Here's a better picture of that one remaining Knight still fleeing because he's below 25%. His leadership is like, I don't know, a 5 at best, and he's just not making it, so he continues to flee. During his magic phase, he tries to get a spell off, but I pop the Demon Heart, and he rolls doubles. I don't remember what the spell was. I think he did end up getting it off, but it ends up forcing miscast 6. It doesn't do anything to hurt him. It puts a wound on my Kin Eater, and that's it. So really, it was just the best of both worlds. It does end his magic phase, but damn! So we go into shooting, and we screw up. I know he's already used his breath weapon on the Lance once this game. We couldn't find it in the book right away where it said you couldn't, where breath weapons were one use only. We did find it after the game, but we were just looking at it, and I was like, you know what? I don't know, so go ahead. That's the way it was before. I don't know if it still is, so we'll err on the side of caution and say it doesn't work that way anymore. You can use breath weapons multiple times in the game, and yeah, it turns out the rule's real easy to find. We just didn't want to stop to take a look, so he ends up doing a couple of wounds to my Bruisers. He's rolling low, guys, and we go into combat, and this guy is otherworldly, so he's got like a 2-up ward save against all non-magical wounds. Which is all the Scratapult does. So he's able to put 3 wounds onto the Scratapult. I do nothing in return with charge and 3 wounds to nothing. I lose by 4, and my Scratapult runs off the table. My opponent knew that was going to happen. He did, so he restrains pursuit and turns to face, and he was absolutely right. I went off the table by about 4 inches. It was sad, but well played on my opponent. Okay, right over here, I don't know why my dice love me so much all of a sudden. I don't know what I did, I swear. I made no virgin sacrifices prior to this game. I take my Kin Eater, and he weathers all their attacks. My opponent's rolling like really poorly, don't get me wrong, but I weather all 3 characters' attacks, and then I put all my attacks on his caster, figuring I'll put a wound or 2 through on her, because she's probably got the worst save, right? I put 4 wounds on her, and all 4 get through. It wasn't a challenge, only like 2 or 3 counted, but it's enough where either I won combat or I'm, what's it called? I'm unbreakable, so we end up stuck in this combat, and the reason he hasn't turned around yet in this combat is, number 1, he's getting all his attacks, but number 2, he's failing his leadership checks to do it. So, yeah, absolute craziness that this has happened over there. The Kin Eater deserves a medal. Then we go over here, and my opponent's rubber dice just completely flubber against me. He's able to do 4 wounds to my unit, killing one of my Merc Vets, but that Yeti's cloak thing, Yeti fur magic item I'm using, is letting me attack first, guys. And let me tell you something. You would think initiative 1, -1 initiative, wouldn't hurt anything, really, it is making all the difference in this game. My Merc Vets pulverized the unit in front of me, killing all but one guy, because that's kind of their MO now. On the left side, I only have one guy to throw some attacks in there. I'm able to kill one of those guys thanks to Lethal Strike. And in return, I take 4 wounds, charge, flank, banner. I think he's got a rank, maybe, to my banner and a bunch of wounds. Believe it or not, I think I lost this combat, but my unit has bodyguard, so I'm stubborn 9 with a reroll because my BSB is right there, and I stand. I can't reform or anything like that, but I stand. I lose this combat, but I should have lost it by so much more. I think I only lost it by 1 or 2, to be honest with you, because of -1 initiative to those units, I got to swing back. Absolute insanity. And before you ask, yes, we did remember the rank and the flank and all that stuff. Thank you for pointing that out earlier in one of the previous battle reports. That was huge. So yeah, he won this combat, but I'm stubborn 9, not going anywhere. With that done, we go over here to top of 4 after movement, and the gloves come off. The bruisers slam into the flank of what's left of that Knight Aspirant unit or whatever it is. The tribesman tried to charge the paladin on the Pegasus, but he's having none of that, and he flees, which is smart. The one fleeing knight, he flees off the table. He doesn't come back. He's going home, and I get that. And my great shaman, he comes running around the back so he can start trying to throw buffs on these 2 units just to push it completely over to my favor, and we win these combats. So that was my movement. There's a better picture of my bruisers slamming into these knights to try to help out my general and his mercs. And there's a better picture of his paladin on a Peggy flying far, far away from the tribesmen that are trying to destroy him. During my magic phase, I get Bone Crusher off on his Green Knight with a vengeance. Murder Death killing this guy, and that's good because I did not want him in my back ranks. And then I'm also able to get off Stubborn, I believe, on Marrow Drinker or something like that, on my bruisers, just in case this combat takes a left turn on me. So we go into combat, and oh, sweet lord. Again, that initiative thing. I didn't have anything to do with the bruisers, of course. My BSB wasn't in combat and I didn't make way, but we annihilate them. My general weathers their attacks, and I think in the end, the guy in front dies. All but one guy dies in that unit that was in my flank. The bruisers try to finish him off. One guy survives. He loses by a landslide. I don't even think he can roll low enough to make it, so he auto breaks. And my general's unit resists going after him because I want to go after the unit that the Kin Eater is in. But the bruisers try to pursue him, and he gets away. But oh my goodness, we destroyed some thinlings today. Then over here, the Kin Eater, his luck finally runs out, and my opponent kills him. He was on borrowed time. He did absolutely amazing, and I couldn't be prouder of him. This is a good death. So my opponent does kind of a odd reform. I don't know if we did this exactly right, but I was like, whatever, that'll work. He rearranges both of his characters. He splits them out of the unit, so they're not a unit anymore. Again, see, that's what kind of confused. I wasn't sure if that was allowed or not. But it's 2 separate characters, so we're like, okay, maybe. But he splits them up, and then he faces them in such a way that they can both charge, wheel, and get around the Pegasus, have my general's unit in their front line of sight in order to do it. And I don't know. I don't know if we did this legally or not, but that's what we ended up doing, and that's what it looks like. That said and done, we go over here to bottom of 4 after movement, and his Knight rallies, believe it or not, his Pegasus Knight rallies, and his General and his BSB slam into my Mercenary Vet unit. He is determined to kill them, and I cannot blame him. Here's a better picture of his character slamming into my Merc Vet and my General, which is going to be a good fight. And there's a better picture of his 2 guys rallying, which is actually surprising about the one guy and not surprising about the peg. In the combat phase, my general ends up in a challenge with his general. He called it, not me. My unit, I think, obviously loses a guy to the BSB, but I take 2 wounds from his lord, and then the Tenderizer does 2 wounds to him, but they're both D3. I end up doing 5 wounds total to them. I think I win this combat, and the BSB makes his break check. So, yeah, it's looking good for the home team. Here we are, top of 5 after movement, and my Bruiser unit slams into the Pegasus Knight. I mean, what other option did I have? My Orc Shaman runs over and rejoins the unit of Tribesmen, because why not? And that's really it. There's a better picture of my Bruiser unit slamming into his Pegasus Knight, and that's going to be an interesting combat. Speaking of which, we go into combat over here, and we limp wrist flub the entire thing. I do not move my general over because I don't want to take the chance of losing him, and with parry on my two Merc Vets, they have the ability to only be hit on 4s at best. So, well, you know, base anyway, and so it just seems more prevalent to leave him over there. I don't want my general to die by, you know, some crazy act of the dice gods, and I think in the end I end up winning because he has a BSB to my, I have a banner, I have a musician, I win, he has no trouble making his break check. Here, I don't issue a challenge, I don't think about it, and I think my opponent wasn't really thinking about it either. So we just go into combat, he's able to slaughter one of my bruisers, and then my bruisers pulp him into his baser elements. We win this combat, obviously, we overrun. We miss getting that knight by literally an inch. Well, can't have everything. With that over, we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and the only thing that happens is his one remaining knight charges into the bruisers to heroically meet his fate. Go into combat, and this time I'm not playing this game anymore, so I'm like, come on, challenge. His BSB swings away and flubs spectacularly. My Kedgai's Maul beats this thing into oblivion, and we win this combat, and we just stay right where we're at. Here, the guy's able to do one more wound to my unit, kills off the bruiser that was carrying 2, and then the bruisers lift up their two-handed weapons and bring them down. And when the dust settles, the little knight guy is very, very dead. There it is, guys. There's the end of the game. All the Kingdom of the Equine or Kingdom of the Horse models are dead, buried, or currently being digested. A lot of crazy things happened in this game. God knows I was rolling hot. So hot they should have dumped water on me. And my opponent was rolling low, like cold low, like 7th level of hell cold low. It was really bad. This is in no way, shape, or form, you know, a sign of how he usually plays. He's usually one of my most difficult opponents, but it was the first time he'd ever played with this list. Obviously, the list wasn't as optimal as he would have liked it. Obviously, his dice weren't as optimal as he would have liked it. But you know what? It was still a fun game, still enjoyed it, and we'll get to the recap in a minute, because first, I want to talk to you guys about something. So, as some of you may or may not know, I travel all around the country semi-often for my particular job. As such, I get to go and explore new and exciting places and find new and exciting gaming stores. Well, currently, I'm out here in North Dakota, Minot, North Dakota, and I got bored. I didn't want to be in my hotel room all day. And I went ahead and I looked up some gaming stores, and the one that I found was called Force of Habit. Now, they have no idea I'm doing this. I didn't walk in there and say, "Hi, I'm Lord Tremendous," because I'm not a complete and total arrogant douchebag. Only about 80%. But this place was amazing. It's 3 stories. The middle store is kind of like the commerce side, where you get all the models and stuff like that, all the product. There was a basement downstairs where they had a couple of tables set up where people were playing, and then they got a top floor with a whole bunch of tables. Incredibly nice staff. I believe the owner and her husband, they talked to me multiple times. Very nice, very friendly. We chatted for probably better part of 40 minutes, just talking games and stuff like that. Not once did I bring up that I was, you know, Lord Tremendous had a YouTube page. I have no idea I'm doing this. But if you're ever up in Minot, North Dakota, and you get a chance, go check this place out. The address is right there. It'll be in the description of the video and stuff like that. Very good store, incredibly friendly people, a lot of fun. I went downstairs, took a look at the games they were playing. At the time, I believe they were playing some Iron Kingdoms. If you're familiar with that, it's actually a really good game. You know, and when I bought some stuff from them, the lady immediately gave me a discount. Not saying that she's gonna get everybody a discount, don't be saying that, but you know, it was just kind of that kind of attitude, that kind of kindness, that kind of commerce. I wish all store owners were like that. And, you know, with my job, with me being able to travel around and stuff like that, I want to do this more often. When I get the opportunity to go check out some other LGSs, and if they're cool and everything, I'm going to post them on here so that if you're ever in the neighborhood, stop on by, check them out, frequent them. They have no idea I'm doing this. I know I've said that like 3 times. They have no idea I'm doing this. I don't want them to know I'm doing this. This is just something that, you know, this is us trying to give back to the community, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, if you get a chance, go check this store out. It's totally worth it. Force a habit in Minot, North Dakota. But yes, in the end, it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. I finally won one. Yay! I tabled my opponent in turn 5. Clubbing baby seals, you know? I ended up losing my Scratapult and my Kin Eater, both very sad losses, but both really put in some work before they went, and I love both those guys. I really do. Great, great units. I need more of them. Lots and lots of rule mistakes during this game. Not only did my opponent forget some rules, but I know you can march through the forest. We used the breath weapon on the Dragonlance multiple times. Not familiar enough with the Knights of the Horses to really help. First game with the Knights of the Equine for my opponent, and the first game I played against this particular army in the new rule set and everything, so just threw me off pretty bad, threw him off real bad. A lot of forgotten stuff, a lot of rule malfunctions, we'll say, but we're learning. And if you see anything that we missed, by all means, please pointing it out in the comment section. Would really, really appreciate that. But all in all, fun game, not just because I won. But hopefully we'll get more games in together, and we'll be able to figure it out. And it will be glorious. But yeah, my opponent, after what I did to him, may jump me in the parking lot and beat me up, take my lunch money and most of my pride. And honestly, I couldn't blame him. I was fine. I didn't get beat up that bad. My new list really provides a solid fight. I found that with the Scratapult especially, it closes up that damn problem I was having with thinning out the units before. It could have been because I rolled out of the box with this thing, but holy crap do I like it. Really, really solid addition to my army. Very pleased with that. The new kits for my characters were huge. Kedgai's Maul. Won me the game against his characters, plain simple and to the point. The Yeti's fur that he has now, my general, slowing down everybody, that pretty much saved that unit, especially against the Knights when they charged me. Being able to strike before they could with all that extra, like +3 to their strength because of Thunder's charge and everything. Holy crap, that made all the difference. I mean, just being able to take those attacks away with -1 initiative, it made the difference. It was completely and totally responsible for my ability to deal with those units. And then, of course, boosting the units up from 6-man or 5 with a character to 7 with a character. You would think just 2 models wouldn't be that much of a difference, but it, again, such an amazing difference, such a huge difference, and yeah, very pleased with the direction the Army's going right now. The Kin Eater slamming into the Knights of the Grail and killing off 3 of them. I know, it was just a complete and total, dice luck thing on both ends, but holy crap. Yeah, just overall really thrilled with the new list, and while I'm still probably going to tinker with it, it is the same list for the next battle report. I'm gonna let you know right now, but I like the direction it's going. There's a few more things I want to try out, a few ideas in my head, so I haven't settled on an exact core army yet, and we're getting ready to boost up to 2,500, so you expect to see more changes in the future. But as always, this was an excellent game, an excellent opponent who I'm sure now has a raging vendetta for me. He wants some vengeance, I guarantee it. And to be perfectly honest, I'm really looking forward to our next game because I think it's going to be so much better. But like I said, every time you guys have seen the battle reports, you heard me raving about it, go check it out yourself, www.the-9th-age.com. It's in the description. The rules are free. The army rules are free. Go check it out. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this battle report. Number 5 is officially in the record books, and if there was an official, I'm sure he'd be thrilled. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.